Welcome to the House of Board Games. In this video, I will be speaking about the game called Distilled, a spirited strategy game for 1 to 4 players currently. This is a small batch release copy of this Kickstarter game, and in this video, I will be reviewing all of the components and telling you the rules of this game. The players in this game inherit an old distillery, and their task is to build it up again and become master distiller. So here is your distillery board with your office here where you put your character card, and there are spaces for distillery upgrades, spirit label bonuses, your pantry for your ingredients, your storeroom for your items, and warehouse to age your spirits. The second card is the recipe checklist, where you can mark which recipes you have and you can distill. Both of these cards or tables contain a second version on the other side for the intro game, which is a bit simplified. But we will be using the other side anyway. So, let's move forward. There are many, which I really like, because there are 3 regions in this game. Europe, Asia, and Americas. And the money types are reflecting that. In this board, there are recipe cubes and the spirit labels containing the name of the drinks. Don't ask me to pronounce this because I will not be able to. That's another player board for another player. And if I move closer, that's the basic market here, containing the basic ingredients: yeast, water, and 3 types of mixed sugars. Also 2 types of barrels to age your spirits: clay barrel and wood barrel. So here in the middle of the table is the premium market with a track and 4 cards displayed from each type of the cards. As distillery upgrades in the top row, premium ingredient in the middle row, and premium items in the bottom row. Each card has a price. If you go closer a bit, you can see that on the bottom right corner in a red price tag, that's the price. The symbol on the left hand side, this one, is the spirit points which are counted for victory. Yeah, I will go into the details of the cards later when explaining the rules. These assets here, it's a start player or first player token. The game has 2 hub cards showing which icon is which, and Endgame Scoring, and on the other side it's phase breakdown and sequence of a round. So here these 2 are starting items. Everyone starts with a barrel and a bottle, and as I say, the starting items and any items you purchase goes into your storeroom here. So the next asset I would like to show to you are the characters. There are plenty of characters in the game, and they plan to publish even more. As you can see on the top, each character represents a region, either Americas, green, blue, Europe, or red, Asia. Each character has its corresponding signature recipe card. We might look at the bottom of a character card as well, explaining their story, their starting resources, signature sugar, we will get there in a second, and a signature recipe, which is just down here. And if you flip it over, it also explains what you need to do to make it. I will tell you a moment later. So the signature sugars are here. Each character again has its own. And here in the background, this is a very nice detailed rule book telling you how to play this game. Up here we have scoring board where you can mark your scores. Also a round marker from 1 to 7 because the game is played in 7 rounds. And these two labels here are for the signature recipe drinks. They are spirit labels similarly to these spirit labels we spoke earlier. If we are here, we have 3 other things to see. Distillery goals are dealt to each player before the game, and they give you some secret goals to complete. Spirit awards are dealt face up at the beginning of the game, one more than each player plays, and you can compete for the awards. Sophisticated. Also, the game box contains these lettered solo goal cards because it can be played as one player as a solo game. And here, 2 other types of cards. Alcohol cards, which goes into your spirits, and flavor cards, which used when you age your spirits. So let's speak about the rules, go through on them. At the beginning of the game, you either randomly select or choose a character which you would like to play, or usually deal 2 and then choose one of those 2. In this game, I will be playing with Sakai Sutan, if I am not pronouncing terribly, and he is an Asia and Oceania character, and as you can see, is from Japan. On the front of the card, you can see his permanent ability, we'll speak about later, and on the back of the card, alongside the story, it says starting resources. That's 2 money. Here we go. 0 yeast, but 1 water. So we will take 1 water from the basic market and keep it in the pantry because your ingredients go to your pantry. And also, he has a signature recipe, Othuri Sochu, hopefully pronounced it right, that's there. It's written on it that it's a one-time use. And I will be turning it over, and you can see it together with the full recipe checklist. At the start of the game, you can make 2 spirits, either moonshine or vodka. And all other recipes here on the checklist have to be purchased. But your signature recipe is also possible to make if you can complete all of the requirements of it. So, we got starting resources, and the game is played in 7 rounds. Here you can see the round marker. Each round is containing 4 phases. This is the sequence of the round card, which we can use to look into it. So, perform start of round effects marked with that green start button. It's great because our character just has one of those start of the round effects. So it says, at start of the round, gain 1 money. Yay! Great! We got to go 1 more money at the beginning of the round. Again, going back, the first phase is the market phase. The second is the distill phase, where you make your spirits. The third phase is the sell phase, where you sell them, or if you don't want to sell them because they need aging, then the fourth phase, you can age them. We will go later, speak about the end of the round stuff when we will get there. Let's see a breakdown of these phases on this second card. In the market phase, in player order, you can purchase either 1 or 2 cards as you wish. So let's look around. You can buy any card you can afford from the premium market here, but there, from the basic market, you are only allowed to buy 2 cards in 1 round. So in 1 round, only 2 cards out of those 7 types. As you remember, we had a water starting. And to make a spirit, you need three things. Water, at least one sugar, and yeast. And to be precise, one yeast, one water, and any number of sugar above 1. So as we only have a water, might be the first option would be good to buy yeast. Yeast is zero cost, as you can see in the bottom right corner, so we get it for free. Even if you read its ability, when purchased, immediately gain 1 money. Yay! Great! We've got 1 more money. Here is it. We already have 4 now. So, for the second, we might need to get some sugar to make a spirit. Let's look onto our signature recipe. It says you need at least 1 grain sugar, the brown one, and 1 wheat. Quick sneak peek onto the premium markets, and there is no wheat available. So right now we don't have we cannot possibly make this. So let's have a look at the basic spirits you can make. Moonshine should not contain any alcohol or sugar, not alcohol, sorry, but vodka can contain any. So looking on the basic ingredients, the grains, the brown sugar is free, but to buy mixed plants cost you 1 coin, or buying mixed fruits cost you 2 coins. So it's a safe bet to buy mixed grains for 0 coins. And then it's the another player or other players who can buy their items. When every player bought 1 or 2 items, then it's you again, and until you have money or you want to buy something and not say pass, you can buy things again. And let's see. I am looking at the distillery upgrades in the premium market. And for the 4 money we have, we might buy this Natural Spring card. So let's just buy it and explain it. How does it work? You buy it for money and pay it out. And then you put your distillery upgrade to the upgrade slot in your distillery board. And then you can use its ability. At the start of each round, add a basic water to your pantry. So basically it's another at the start of round effect. Yes, so we don't have any more money, so let's jump to the next phase, which is distill phase. The distill phase is happening concurrently between the players. So each player put their desired amount of sugars here, and then the yeast and the water. And then here comes the magic. Each sugar brings 1 alcohol into your spirit. So as we had only 1 grain sugar, there goes 1 alcohol. And then you need to shuffle all of these cards. It's quite hard to do it with 1 hand, but let's imagine we shuffled it properly. And your task is to remove the top and the bottom card. They goes back to your washback, and what's left, that's your spirit. And now you need to compare what's left with the recipe list. Actually, this drink doesn't contain any sugars, so it became a moonshine. When you're ready with a spirit, you claim its spirit label. Here is a moonshine label. Okay, and that comes here. Each spirit to sell requires a barrel and a bottle. Until you buy any premium items, you can use these two basic items. So these are added, and then you can count the sale price and your victory points. Basically, the sale price is the amount on the top left corner. So it's 1 on each of these cards and 2 from the moonshine. So I am getting 6 coins of money. Great. Victory points wise, you would get any points from the bottom left corner of the cards, as I mentioned on the premium market items, but these cards haven't got any. So that means the only victory points we got is the 1 point from the moonshine. So I am moving my points marker to the number 1 spot. Okay, what's happened? Your starting items, the bottle and the barrel, goes back to your storeroom. You can keep them forever. The cards which made up your drink goes back to their respective spot. Water to the water spot and alcohol to the alcohol deck. And what came back to your wash bag goes back to your pantry, and you can reuse them for your future drinks. It's because when in real life distilling happens, the very first part of the distilled spirit and the very last part of the spirit is actually removed in real life. So this is how the game represents it, and I believe it's a wonderful mechanic. So we've sold our drinks. So basically that's the sell phase. Already we jumped to there. And in the sell phase, the players are selling the spirits in player order, also claiming the labels in player order. And the label can be used to claim a label bonus. Those 7 little boxes, 7 round, that makes sense, I think, to claim bonuses. And we will use this bonus now for the second one. Move signature ingredient to pantry, or get 2 victory points, but we need the signature ingredient. So we are moving, putting the moonshine label here, and this is the signature ingredient card. I prepared it. This should be put aside before the game, and when you get it somehow, basically with that label bonus, then you get it. So it goes into your pantry. As you can see, it's quite a good card because it provides 4 victory points and also 2 coins sell value. So the age phase is when you are making an aged spirit, which is not happening in this round, so you will know it later when we get to the next round. At the end of the round, you need to check if you fulfilled any spirit awards. They are here. And basically, they are not usually claimed in the first round. As you can see, one of them saying, display 5 battles. We will buy a battle and I explain to you how do you display battles. Collect 3 European spirit labels. Well, we don't have any spirit labels with region yet. And sell an aged spirit for the third one. So we need to age something. Okay, we will come back to this later. Also, I haven't mentioned already, but at the beginning of the game, you get 3 Distillery Goals cards. And out of those 3, you need to keep 2 and return 1 to the box. So, red glass, have or be tied for the most displayed Asian or home bottles. Our character is Asian, so I guess that's a good spot to keep. The middle one says juvenile, have or be tied for the most unaged spirit labels. It's fine, and it's 7 points. And the third one, gearhead, score or be tied for the most spirit points from equipment distillery upgrades. Actually, we just bought an equipment distillery upgrades. So, of course, you need to decide this before you start your turn, but let's return the 5-pointer. That's the weakest one. And we might claim a lot of spirit points here at the end of the game. These goals, as you can see, are most of the time competing goals with the other players. So you need to be best in that particular area of the game you've chosen, and also have to watch ahead for the other players, what they are doing. They don't know your goals and you don't know their goals. They are kept secret until the end of the game. Okay, so let's move for the second round. As we've spoken already, this character gains 1 money and 1 water for free. Let's see our options now. I really would like... sorry, I forgot one thing before we go there. At the end of each round, you remove the first item from the premium market, move all cards along, and deal a new card from each deck. Nice, very nice cards here. Okay, so I would like to show you how to age a spirit and how to make this signature recipe. So what does it say? You need 1 wheat and you need at least 1 grain sugar apart from that wheat. So basically we have the minimum, but you discard the top two, the top card and the bottom card from your pile. So let's find some other ingredients. Also, because this is an aged spirit, you need a barrel to age it. And this one, as this is a soju, this requires a clay barrel, this Radicom. So there are no clay barrels on the premium market. Here you can see that we have a metal barrel and a wooden barrel. So we need to look at the basic market and buy this clay barrel for 3 coins. And this goes into our storeroom as this is an item. Paying 5, getting back 2 coins. We still have 4 left. Great. We would use our second option from the basic market. As you remember, you can only buy 2 items in each round from the basic market. So we were picking up these mixed grains for free. Now we have 2 basic grains and 1 buckwheat. Okay, let's look. Unfortunately, that millet, which is a grain sugar, is gone because it's already in the track. And there are no grain sugars here. You wouldn't want to put anything else from the other types because then you would fail your recipe. They are not allowed. Let's look into the upgrades here. During the distill phase, you may add 1 additional alcohol, says the coppersmiths, which is nice. And the coffee still, once per round during distill phase, may return all drawn cards, reshuffle, and remove the top and bottom cards again. Yeah, this is nice. This would help us secure or at least lessen the chance of discarding the buckwheat from our drink. But it costs 5 and we only have 4. So we might either go with the coppersmiths, and I think there's basically no other good options apart from buying a bottle, but we are not selling any drinks now. So yes, let's go with the coppersmiths, okay? We're buying her for 4 money and putting her into our distillery upgrades slot. Yes. So let's imagine other players done their shopping, and then we're going to make our spirit. We have 1 yeast, 1 water, and 3 sugars. That means how many alcohol you need? Exactly 3. 1, 2, 3 alcohols going there. Okay. you make them together and give them a big, good shuffle. Usually with 2 hands, it's going better, right? Okay. Yes, and then you just pick the top and the bottom card. They goes to the wash back, and what's left is your ready spirit. And ladies and gentlemen, we have our Otsuri Sochu ready here because we have 2 grains and 1 buckwheat, which satisfy the minimum requirements, which means we can pick the signature recipe label for it, and it goes into a clay barrel. We don't need the bottle yet because we need to age this and won't sell it yet. This card tells you that it requires at least 2 rounds to age it. So all of the ingredients are going face down, and the barrel is put on top of them with the label showing what is inside. And you put these cards all together into your warehouse. The warehouse actually shows you how many spirit points will you get when you sell them with the number of flavor cards which you get on each aging. So in this round we won't have any sell phase because we don't have a spirit to sell. The cards from the washback goes back to your pantry. The next phase is the age phase, when you draw the topmost flavor card. Do not see the other side or check the other side, and put it into your spirit. It will give it a nice flavor. Might be not that nice, we will see it later. And then at the end of the round, you may do tastings. You hold tastings. If you haven't sold any drinks in that round and you have a spirit in your warehouse aging, you can hold tastings and spend already corrected victory points to get some money. And in this case, we will do this because we have actually 0 money. So we will send that single 1 victory point we had, claiming 1 money. And then comes the next round. And in the next round, you get 1 money for your character and 1 water for the natural spring. Goes into your pantry. And we refresh the market cards by discarding 1 and dealing a new one from each deck. Oh, a barley, another wheat or grain sugar, sorry. So yes, also just to remind you that the aged spirit labels stay on the spirit until it's sold. And you can claim these bonuses here when you are selling a spirit and not distilling it. Okay, so we have 2 money and 3 ingredients here on pantry. Let's speak about 2 things. One is that an alcohol can be used either as a water or as yeast. So basically with the 2 alcohols we have 1 water and 1 yeast. And that's great because the water can be traded. As you can see, the alcohol says cannot be traded with the basic market. The trading rule says the following. At the end of the market phase, when you finish buying anything and before you start distilling, you can discard any one of your cards from your player board and pick 1 item from the basic market, which costs less or equal the money. So basically, discarding of water, which costs 0, allow us to pick up either a mixed grain, a water, or a yeast. But at some point we might discard one of the distillery upgrades for money, and that makes it possible to get a barrel. And this is the main reason of this rule, to make sure you can make at least one spirit in each round. So making possible, if you're missing a barrel, a water, or yeast, you can get it by trading one of your cards. So let's see. My plan is to make a proper original soju. This doesn't require any aging and requires the metal barrel we have. And it needs at least 2 grain sugars. As we've spoken, we don't have any, but let's get it. Let's get 1 grain sugar for the first action, first shopping, and the second one for the second. And then we need the recipe. To get the recipe, you need a brown or bronze colored cube from the recipe shop, and that's cost you exactly 2 coins. So I am picking this up, putting it here, marking that out, the soju, that we bought the soju recipe, and paying in 2 coins to the bank. Okay, what do we forgot? Oh, we forgot to put 1 alcohol into the previous drink. Absolutely amazing. Let's then do the trade. Yes, we will be trading this water for another mixed grains, and then let's make the spirit. 1 alcohol, 1 water, and the 3 grain sugars here. Please don't forget that you get 1 additional alcohol on this card, and I missed it in the previous spirit making process. So it's actually 3 plus 1, 4 another alcohol. All goes together. You give them a big shuffle, not this much I am doing. Great. And then discard the topmost and the bottommost card. Goodbye. It goes to the wash back. And that's your ready spirit. And because it has 2 grain sugars, it completes the soju recipe, and we can sell this drink. We will need 1 bottle, 1 barrel, and all of the cards to count. Yes, these. So the grain sugar doesn't give you any money or victory points, but all of the alcohols giving 1 coin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 we are getting now, and also 5 victory points on the soju. So 7 coins from the bank. This would be a bit more. I'm sorry. We've got it here. And then 5 victory points on the victory point scale. Okay, the alcohol cards are going back to the alcohol deck. The mixed grains going back to the basic market, and your bottle and barrel are coming back to your storeroom. Also, the washback cards, the grain sugar and the alcohol came back to our pantry. So, in this round, another thing we forgot, to claim the soju spirit label and get the bonus. Basically, you can choose any of those, but at this time I prefer to get a free item, and that free item will be this faceted bottle, and that goes into our storeroom. The last phase is the age phase, where we get another flavor into our signature recipe soju. And then, because you already sold a spirit in this round, you don't get to have tastings. So next round begins. You discard all of the first cards from the market, and then at the beginning of the start we're getting a money and a voter. I would like to skip making a drink because you've seen almost everything. Let's just say that you have to look at the barrel type when you are making a drink, and you make sure what you are planning to do with the sugars. Most of the drinks requires only a salt type of sugar, except gin, which requires grain and fruit sugars as well. So when we go to selling this aged spirit, you turn them all over, and then at this point you will see your flavor cards. One of them saying spicy and worth 3 coins, and the other one is floral for 2 coins. You also count everything what's in your spirit, and you claim the victory points from your signature recipe and also the coins on it. So you will get a nice bunch of stuff on it, and also the victory points for the aged bonus. Let's see some other rules before moving forward. Obviously, you can buy any of the premium ingredients you would like to use and then just use them as the basic ingredients. If all of the spirit labels of one type is claimed, so for example, I would make another soju and then no soju label left, you can make, or other players can make that spirit later, but they won't get the label and won't get the label bonus for it. The game goes on for 7 rounds, so basically, or usually, you prepare 7 drinks during that time. You try to complete your distillery goals. You try to collect the awards. Sell an aged spirit. Basically, we collected this because we just sold our signature recipe, which was aged. And at the end of the game comes the endgame scoring. You score all spirits still left in the warehouse, but count only the victory points. Yeah, go back. Bottle. We bought this bottle, but haven't put it into our signature recipe drink. So basically, when you sell it, you need to put a bottle, either the basic one or a premium one like this one. And it gives you 2 victory points or 3 if it's an Asian spirit. And because your signature recipe is Asian, so that was 3 points and 1 coin. And then when you sell a bottle, which is a premium bottle, you put it into your display, basically just setting aside and collecting bottles. It's good for 3 reasons. One is your distillery goals. Remember, the card with this card, it says have or be tied for the most displayed Asian or home bottles. And this one is an Asian, so would be good for that goal. Also, collect or display 5 bottles. Another aim, and then at the end game scoring, getting back this card here, you get bonuses for the bottles you collected. From the same region, you can score from 2 to 6 bottles that many points. And if you have at least one from 3 different regions, then you score 5 points. For the third point, you score your distillery upgrades. As you can see on the bottom left corner, most of them with explanation to how to resolve the question mark. And then you score your distillery goals, and at the end you score the leftover money in a 5-to-1 ratio. And the winner with the most victory points or spirit points, and the tiebreaker is the leftover money. Those are the rules and the gameplay of Distilled. These are the solo go cards prepared for a solo game. Deal down. Before you start play, you need to turn over the first the second and the top row cards. Take quite seconds, don't worry. So you have to complete one card from each row. So for example, and you can use coins, if you complete this one, then the next two will turn over, and you can complete either of them. Let's imagine this one, and then you can go over for the top two, the two above it. And you have to complete these goals to win the solo game, and also you need to score as many points at the end of the game as the points required on your A and B cards. So for example, if you complete this one for 13 and this one for 65, then you need to have at least 78 points at the end of the game. Also, when you claim your spirit label bonus on the first one, you can swap two cards, and at the end of each market phase, you need to discard a leftover B card, which will shows you which cards from the market discard additionally. So what are my final closing thoughts on this game? I absolutely love it, and I am really grateful to the developers who provided us this copy for quite long weeks to test and try out and to promote it in different clubs. So, and the other players I've played with, generally the feedback was really good. But I really like that this is a Euro game, as someone would say, a VAT Euro game, because of this topic of alcohols, which could make it quite popular and interesting and inclusive in all around the world. So what I want to say is that this is an Euro, and this is a very tight economical simulation game, yet the theme is quite strong all around it, and you would feel during the game that you are really a distiller who leads a distillery, who fights for the ingredients, who hopes for the luck to get the wished spirit, and then competes for money and for spirit points, for glory, for ultimate victory. So yes, I can highly recommend. It's probably done on Kickstarter because it was funded basically in the first few days a day. There might be late backing options, just Google it, and I give it 10 out of 10. Thank you and goodbye.